Well, hello again, my friends. Today is going to be a great day. Well, for several reasons. Number one, I finally get a day off and to be on a shed, on a lathe, doing what I really love doing. Number two, I got on the way home from work today. Today's Sunday, but yes, I had to show up at work to see what was the status and what was going on. And well, on the way there, I had already noticed for the last week there was this tree. It's sold in local nurseries as a bottle washer. I will look up the official name, the Latin name for it, and post it on the video. But anyway, I would pass by it and I saw this huge bottle washer tree, which is unusual. They don't usually grow too big, but tied up against the building, and it's under construction, and somebody had gone in there and cut off a good sized limb off it, which kind of split it off, and I could see like bright red color. It's like, oh wow, that's exciting color. And well, today being Sunday, I had a little bit more time to actually stop there on the way home to leave one of my cards saying, hey guys, if you're cutting down the rest of this tree, give me a call. I'm interested in the logs. Well, anyway, of course today is Sunday, nobody's working, but I left my card there and I decided to go look around the building. And sure enough, what was there? Along other branches from other trees that they had cut down in that area. There were the logs of that big branch off that they had already cut off. That was showing me that vivid red. So anyway, let me see if I can show you. You know, I'm saying it's going to be a great day for the finish of the day, because even though I had all this wood and I was all excited to get home and get over here, well, on the way home, a state trooper pulls right alongside of me, looks in my direction. I was very casually riding with the windows open. If it was closed, it's dark tint, he wouldn't even see me. But anyway, window open, no seatbelt. Gets right behind me, pulls me over $130. So guys, if you think we're above the law by not wearing a seatbelt, think again. They can pull you over even if you're not speeding, just for a seatbelt violation. Anyway, it put a little damper on the day, but it's not going to ruin the rest of my day. Unless I get pulled over by the YouTube safety police and fines me for using the wrong gouge. We'll have to see on that. But anyway, let me bring the camera in there. I can't move it out there because it's on my boom and it's stationary. So let me see if I can aim it, and I'm going to do a little bit of chainsaw cutting into a couple of lengths. And today's video, I want to do something that's fairly quick. It's not going to take a lot of time because I need to put this together, edit it, and put it up on YouTube. And I will apologize to my friends for the last couple of videos. There were videos I had already recorded and I was not going to put them up. It's like I recorded it, I had it on the computer just in case, and you know, I back on the workforce, and I decided, okay, you know, I'm just going to do a quick edit on those and post them anyway. They were not great videos, and I apologize for that. I tried to be a little bit more informative or a little bit more entertaining than what I was on those last two. But I know you guys hung through there and are supporting me and asking me to show some more wood turning. So here we are with another wood turning. Let me bring you out there again, as I said, and just show you, if I can, what's in the trunk of my truck. Now, that's the wood that I still got in the truck, and I got that huge stump over there. So I got one of these trees in my yard, and it's a slow-growing tree. Mine's is 10 years old, and it's got probably a 4-inch stump on it. Even though, you know, mine hasn't really had the opportunity to flourish. It's always been a little bit on the sickly side, but still, that's an old tree for it to get to that size. I didn't even think they got to that size. And that's a branch off. The main stump is much thicker than that. So hopefully they get back to me and say, yeah, come and pick it up. But hopefully they cut it a little shorter than this, because the length on this is pretty massive. I had a hell of a time putting this in my truck. So I'm going to cut it down. So this is going to be today's little project. It's going to be a little vase done out of this piece of wood. And this is what I'll be working with. This will be the top of the vase, since it's a little oblong. And I'm going to keep it a natural edge. And it will create a couple of nice wings. I will keep the bark on the top of it. And it will be somewhat shallow going down, and stay with me. We'll see what I make out of this. First thing I want to do is mount it, and I'm going to mount that on my spur drive between centers. And I don't know if you've seen it or not, but I don't take out my chuck just to install the spur drive in. I squeeze it up in between the inside part of my jaws. Now you can take it off. It's, you know, it's really up to you on what you want to do. But this does not create any type of unsafe situation for you. So I rely on that pretty well. Get pretty close to center here, and that's pretty good right there. And this wood is very fairly hard from what I can tell. And I'm not going to be too worried about the exact center on this. I'm going to estimate it. If you know me, and if you've followed along with my videos, you see that I don't spend a lot of time on, you know, centering things, and I don't have jigs to center it up. I put it close to where I think it's going to work, and I know I'm going to end up with a high wing here and here, fairly low right about here, a little bit higher than this side here. So it's going to create somewhat of an interesting bowl when all said and vase when all said and done. I'm going to true this area up a little bit, and I'm going to create a tenon right over here and put it up into my 4-inch jaws, and then I'll be able to hollow the inside. First of all, change my tool rest, something a little bit longer. You can use whatever, but I got a 12-inch tool rest, which is from this slate actually, and it covers the whole piece. The whole piece is about 10.5 inches in length, 10.25. So this vase will end up being about 9.5 inches long when all said and done, and I threw up the very bottom of it. favorite gouge. It's got a nice, it maintains a good sharp edge. This does it. You can use a roughing gouge to true it up because this is spindle turning, but I'm gonna go with this. I like this tool, and I can get a nice clean cut, and I will do the whole piece, almost the whole vase, with this one tool, almost all the way through. Check my speed. That's a little bit set on the fast side from the last time I was turning. So I'm going to slow it down to 640 RPMs to balance it out and make my 10, and then I'll speed it back up again. Let me bring you over the top and give you a better view of what it is that I'm doing over here. Okay, so basically I'm just truing up this bottom area over here. I'm not interested in coming up here. I don't know exactly. I mean, I have a good idea what's going to happen over here, but I'm not concentrating on that. I'm concentrating on making sure that I got a tenon so I can put it in these jaws and lock it in good. Now because I got 4-inch jaws over here, it will probably end up with a little bit of bark when I put it in, but as long as I got some solid wood in there, I should be fine. Use my parting tool and true this up a little bit. It's a little bit whacked, as you can see. So I'll true this up a little bit and probably bring it to the bend so I can cut out to the center a little bit so I can fit it in there nicely. Taking out, be careful with the jaws. I use the pointer tool to set up the bevel of my jaws, and it gives me a nice crisp edge around here. So I kind of use this tool quite a bit for that. I put it in there and I got to the right angle between the two. Okay, my size is good. That will do a nice seating in there. Take it out, and I'm going to remove this. And I'm going to remove this bump that's out here so it doesn't bottom out on my jaws. And that's all I need. Just enough to get it in there. I will see if I can do this without much fast forwarding or anything on this video, but it depends on how long it takes me. The hollowing out the inside is going to be the lengthiest part of it, so it always is, because I don't have special tools for that either. So I might fast forward through that, but I will show all the shaping in real time. Bring my life center in, hold it up in place as long as I can. Now, with the way I got this, I'm pretty confident and feel pretty comfortable shaping whatever I want other than the very base of it close to the tenon, because that will be done later on. I'll probably end up parting it off completely to do the base of the bowl. So for now, I'm going to start shaping the shape of the bowl that of the vase that I want in here. Be looking at the shape that you got going through here. You can see that I got a slight hump on that area. Put your bevel off. Start taking a bite. You can see it. Nice and slow. Now, I had a comment from one of my viewers and saying, you know, he's been turning, new turner. And I think I bring my videos more towards new turners than I am seasoned turners. Occasionally I will show something that anybody can use, but he's telling me that he's having a hard time controlling the approach of his tool. And I gotta tell you, 4 months on the lathe, that's just the amount of time you need to start learning on your approaches. Whether if you watch me, watch Mike Walt, watch anybody else, Stephen Ogle, you have to go through that learning curve of exactly what's the best way to approach your tool. I can tell you how I'm approaching my tool, but it does not mean that you're gonna find that it's, oh my God, that's what I was missing, because it took me that long to find out how I was approaching with my tool and getting catches. I would watch other turners. I'd come out here and I'd be a little bit frustrated because bang, 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 and I could not achieve, you know, a smooth carryover, riding the bevel like everybody tells you. It really is that 4 month period time is the time that you really start working comfortable or starting to be comfortable with the approach of your tool into your wood. Now, what I can tell you is that speed is not the factor, because you can turn a piece based on diameter and balance at a low speed or fast speed. And of course, the faster you go, the more danger factors become in play, especially if you approach the tool wrong and you get a catch. It's a catch at high speed is a lot more dangerous than a catch at low speed. So I say turn as slow as you can and watch your cuts. When you approach, see what the tool is doing and how it's behaving, how it's cutting as you're following, and make small adjustments to it. You don't want to approach it like this because that's very aggressive cut, and I'll do that sometimes, but I'm being very, very cautious with it and making sure I know how much I'm taking. But you're better off approaching the tool into the wood like this than you are like this. You approach it like this, you'll become very, very aggressive on this point. It's very easy for you to get a catch. The tool swing out of your hand, you know. But if you approach it either on a shear scrape mode, which is the top kind of facing into the wood, okay, and scrape it along, you're not being too aggressive with it, and make slight adjustments to that to adjust your cut, or going completely on the opposite direction and doing a push cut, and you are relying on the bevel, this back part of your tool, almost sitting on the back that you already cut. You can't do that during the rough turning because you don't have anything to ride on. It's going to be bouncing all over the place. But once you establish a cut, it's fairly easy to ride the back of the bevel, and you just make slight adjustment until bringing your body forward until just the bottom tip is catching. And that's when you get these nice ribbon cuts coming out of the tool, and it makes your life much easier. Now, back to this. I know that these high edges, which is this one and this one, the bark is going to end up cutting almost all the way from the top. So I'm going to shape this area up, and I think I want this bolt to be somewhat slim on this area, a little fatter on the body, and flare out whatever I can out of this area. The only thing I don't want to do is I don't want to remove bark from the very top edge over here. So I have to stay back, and then I will feather it up and meet up to it very slowly. Slim it down still slightly over here. I'm bringing it back up. you one thing, the wood cuts very smooth. It's a nice cutting wood. The bark is going to have some nice character. It got a little bit chewed up over here, but I will refine that. And this area right here, which is the worst right here. To spend a lot of time and showing you all the getting rid of all these tool marks. I'm gonna start concentrating on hollowing up the inside. So what I always do is use a Forstner bit, the biggest I got, go in there and hollow up as much as I can with this, and that will make things a little bit easier for you and quicker. And this is not in any way cheating. The lathe is at 600 RPM, so I'll be fine with that. The slower you go when you're using a Forstner bit, the better off you are, so you're not heating up your Forstner bit. Okay, so I will hollow out and then refine the outside with sanding and all that stuff. But for now, I just want to establish the shape of the vase. Bring this down a little bit lower. Same tool while I can. I'll probably have to resort to another tool later on, but for now, I'm fine with this. As soon as I open up the mouth wide enough to be able to go, oh, I lost the bark. Oh, darn it. Yeah, that happens sometimes. When you have bark that's really high like this, and I wasn't sure about this bark, if I was going to lose it or not. But apparently, I was going to lose it. But dabbing CA all the way around the bark is one sure way that you can keep your bark on. I've shown this in many videos and I failed to do it myself right now. I'm almost embarrassed to say that, but so I'm going to put it back with a little bit of CA. Alright, the medium CA works better than the thin CA for when you're attaching stuff like that. So get a little bit of medium CA in there. But for making sure that your bark stays on, you're better off with the thin CA because you'll just saturate all the bark areas. Let me see what I got here for bark. And this will be just a minute before it cures up. So this is a good fix for when you got bark that flies off and you were trying to achieve something with a bark on it. You can always CA it back in if you still have the pieces around. But prior to losing them, the key is really to saturate the all the bark areas. And that piece is not from there, but that's going to work. I'm going to flip this one over like this. That's better. Okay, let me see if I lost any other pieces that are crucial. No, that was the only area. So for now, this is glued in. It's going to take just a couple of minutes before it cures up on me. But I will take the thin CA and saturate the whole bark area. Doesn't take a lot of glue. It seeps in pretty quickly. But this will assure you that you can keep your bark the way you want it to be. Now be careful, this stuff is pretty potent. It will stop burning your eyes in just a little while, so make sure you got plenty of ventilation and be ready to step out of your work area as soon as you can to take a fresh breath. And here it comes. The smell is just getting to my eyes right now. It's starting to burn up a little bit. So I'll step away from it for a minute. Be back. Fairly stable, and to establish a cleaner cut, I'm going to speed the lathe up, still to a safe speed, but where it's going to give me slightly better cuts on this edge here and already going on the inside. So I'm going to speed it up to 1200 RPM. And that's still pretty decent speed. Okay, since I'm bottomed out and I have a wide opening here, I can fit my Furtado bit back in there. I got a little piece that's a little loose over here. So again, I want to make sure that this stays. That was something that right from before that didn't grab to start off with. And that should be fine. And since this top edge of my bark, this inside part, I'm going to refine it by cleaning it up, but I'm really not going to alter the shape of it. So I have very little to do here. So to assist me again, I'm going to saturate this bark area with thin CA again. And that will stay final for the sanding and everything else. I'm really not going to play with much with this bark edge at all, but I want to make sure that it stays. You can see the CA seeps right in. The wood just pulls it in, and that pretty much guarantees me that this bark will stay intact. And it will guarantee also wherever this vase goes, whether if I sell it, whether if I display it or whatever, if it's going to stay on here for the duration. And 2 months down the road, 3 months down the road, it's not going to come off. The only way that can happen is, of course, if you drop it, you can break away these edges. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to be breaking away any of these edges. All these edges that are up here, except maybe for a little fuzzy or so, I'm going to preserve and maintain it as well as I can. But I need to go deeper in there. So it's time to get the Furtado bit back in here and go as deep as I can. But 1200 RPMs is definitely way too fast for a Furtado bit. I will burn it up. So slow it down. Since I got 300 RPMs on the lathe, just for that, I'm going to slow it down to that. But if you don't, 600 RPMs should work okay. Just don't be too aggressive with it. But you should be fine. Always check, make sure you're not hitting with your tool rest anywhere. Speed it up again. Will go in there a little bit deeper than that one. And this tool, nothing special on it. It was a cold steel chisel, and I just shaped the front somewhat like a scraper, flat top on here, and hold an edge for a long time. It's a nice tool. Really, all my turning is done. economical. I don't have any fancy tools. So yes, they're nice to have, but you don't have to have them to do wood turning. Be careful when you reach too far in from the tool rest. That's the drawback that we all have. Unless you can reach way in there, you do have limitations. Now, I'm still about 3 inches from the bottom. My Forstner bit is not going to reach much deeper either. So I'm going to go one more shot in there, take out as much as I can with the Forstner bit, and then go in there with my shop-made gouge to finalize the very base of it. Now I'm going to go with this big heavy duty gouge. It's not great because it doesn't hold an edge very well, but I just want to get to the bottom in there and clean up some of this. Sharpness looks good. Wow, right there. I'm good. So I'm just going to clean up this edge a little bit so I don't do as much sanding by, again, using my tool of choice up to now. And just go in here, do a little bit of shear scraping, and then the rest will be sanding. Now I'm going to refine the outside a little bit. I got a little hump here, one here, and I'm going to cut this up. I'm pretty thin, about a quarter of an inch all the way through, so it looks good. Bark is all here, with the exception of a little piece right here, which I think is just the skin. And it's a coarse bark, so a coarse bark, of course, is always harder to maintain than a smooth bark. But I'm going to get this piece back on as well. And this is not a piece that would have bothered me much, but since I got it, that looks pretty good. Shape is pretty good. So I'm going to start sanding this up with 80 grit. go a little bit of a decoration on the base on this. I'm going to do 3 beads or so, close to the bottom. This is going to be parted out over here. I want to do a little round edge on the base so it's not completely square like that. This is a slightly smaller tool, same idea as that other one. Just break off that edge. And with this, burn those beads as well. Whenever you're using something to burn, make sure you got a handle on each side. Don't wrap it around with your fingers. You don't want to get a catch and pull this up on your fingers. Start smoking, release. Smoke it a little bit. And take a look and see if you like the design, if it's too deep, if it's not too deep or whatever, and make adjustments. Pads as my final sanding. Both sides a little bit. And I think this is ready for my finish. My finish is going to be a sanding sealer, 1 coat of sanding sealer, wet sanded with 1200, and then 1 coat of min wax, paste wax. So I'm wet sanding the inside as well as the outside, as deep as I can get it. I don't concentrate on much on making pieces that are flawless. I really don't. I concentrate on making pieces that are appealing to the eye and I maintain a little bit of its flaws, whether if it's the wood, whether if it's not so much tool marks, you know, that would be considered a workmanship flaw. But my workmanship, I take pride in it as far as doing the best I can with the circumstances, but I don't try to go beyond the capabilities of the wood or try to conceal what the wood has to offer. I let the piece speak for itself. I let the piece dictate where it wants to be, and I let the people find the little flaws on it. And those flaws to me are what makes it unique, and not the fact that everything is so shiny or so perfect or so uniform. I like my pieces, all my pieces at least, to look like they came out of a tree, to look like they were hand turned and not something a machine did. And if you don't look, if that's not the look you're looking for, you know, you can keep going with still the same methods that I apply, but just go a little further. Spend a little bit more time sanding, refining, more finishes. Make sure that you don't have any blemishes. Make sure you don't have any tool marks. That's number one. Like I said, that's not a flaw of wood. That's a workmanship flaw. And I think that I do pretty well as far as that is concerned. My pieces, I really don't see anything that upsets me in the way that it's like, okay, I still don't know how to approach my tools. I'm not getting the lines. You know, I'm ending up with bellies, and those are the things that I look for. Is that the transitions are nice and smooth. That it's an appealing feel to the piece. When you feel it, there's nothing that is going to distract you from what the piece is. The piece really is what you see. You know, with better tools, of course, you can get in there a little easier on the hollowing out of the vase. You can go in deeper if you got, you know, a professional hollowing tool, which I will get someday. I'm not saying that those are obsolete tools. In no way, shape, or form am I saying that. What I do say is that even though you don't have it, you are not limited. Or it's not that you can't do this or can't do that because you don't have the tools. Again, if you have the budget and you can afford the tools, by all means, your turning will be a lot easier to do. There's no question about that. So, invest on what you can, but don't feel that you have to have every last toy that's available for the lathe. Now this wood is green, it's got quite a bit of moisture, but I'm not going to worry about what happens to this because it's turned fairly thin. I got less than 1/4 of an inch thickness on this whole piece as far as I can feel, and it follows the same contour, so I'm pretty sure that I'm you know, about 1/4 of an inch all the way down to the base on this, which is pretty nice for a vase. The very bottom I got about 3/4 of an inch thickness back here, which keeps the base heavy, so the vase will seat itself well into its environment wherever it's showcased, on the table with a nice arrangement, or by itself as a decorative piece. I don't make mine waterproof. I don't do anything to go ahead and tell people oh yeah, you can put live flowers with water in it. That's not. If they want live flowers in something, they can buy a glass vase or porcelain or something like that. That's very decorative. This is the decoration itself, not what you put inside of it. At least that's how I look at it. You know, I do have throughout the house some nice distinct porcelain and clay and vases that I find the design itself has to be very appealing, and I don't have them decorated with flowers of any sort because the vase itself is the decoration. That's the same thing here. This itself is the piece of art, not what you put inside of it. As a matter of fact, whatever you put inside of it, that takes away from the bowl. It's somewhat of an insult to the work that you put into it. You know, like I said, unless you are making something that's specific to hold something, then you are creating something that by itself will be the piece to be displayed. And you can enhance it. You know, I'm not saying you can't put something on it that can enhance it or to change its mood or its look for little bits, but you know, the piece does not need it per se to make its own statement. Now, when you're waxing and you got beads like this, make sure that you take the time and remove any build-up wax that's inside those beads. You don't want to see clutters of wax in there. I'm doing my best to get this done. You see the techniques that I used, and do my best to post it for tonight, and you guys can view it. And of course, even though I'm not doing as many videos, I do look at the comments when I get home for the little bit of time that I have. So I look at the comments and I reply, or I try to reply to the comments. So by all means, comment, share, like. You know, that's what it's all about, is sharing what you like with your friends, and hopefully they like it and they share it with their friends. Well, the color on the piece is somewhat disappointing. The bark is really nice. It's got nice character, but I was hoping to see a little bit more red popping up out of this. But still, a nice grain. Probably the fact that it's green and it really hasn't had any UV hitting on it probably is what's maintaining it to that color, because the sawdust that comes out of it is pretty red. So I think that it's a fact that I'm turning it at a rather fast speed, and it's somewhat kind of quick drying as I'm turning it thin. Most of the moisture is disappearing out of the wood, and it's not giving it its natural chance to dry up naturally. So I will see what happens with the pieces that I cut up, and left a couple outside, some in here, and I'm curious as to what happens to this next week. So yeah, next week I'll be turning maybe a bowl out of this same wood, different orientation, and see how it looks back then. So be sure to check back with me, check my channel, and see what I make next week as well with the same wood. Well, I'm ready to part this off and finish the bottom. I could probably do a quick friction. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a little quick friction polish on this and see how it looks on there. Now I'll finish off this butt end. Oops. Well, again, here I was talking away on standby on the camera. Not going to repeat what I said because I never do. Anyway, this is that vase made out of that bottle washer tree. Not quite as red as what I expected it to be, but it still looks nice. There's a nice bright red on this side. It goes a little blonde over here. The main focus of this piece is maintaining the bark. Excuse me. You want the bark. Don't be afraid to saturate it with thin CA, both inside and outside. By the time you finish that off, sanding and your final cut, you're not going to have shine spots that you have to worry about like you would if you had a crack and you filled it up with CA. Those are hard to get by to eliminate because the shine from the CA becomes pretty prominent and pretty visible, but on the bark itself, not a problem. The zebra striping going through here is just fantastic. And the whole focus of this vase is the bark. It's the top, it's the design that it came out. It's very simple design. I got nice flow of lines, no bumps. You can feel it. You don't want anything that distracts the eye from the focal point of the piece. It's not a super shine. Could it be shinier? Yeah, I wouldn't be disappointed if it was shinier. But I'm not disappointed that it's like this either. So it's one of those things that, yeah, if it had a little bit more of a shine, it would, I would be pleased, probably more pleased. I don't know if I would be more pleased or not, because I'm very pleased with the piece. So don't let me, for a minute, let you think that, oh yeah, you could have done a little bit better on the shine. I'm not disappointed with this shine. I am very pleased with this finish. It's a matter of taste, whether if you like something that's really super glossy or something that is matte. The shine is not the visual that I'm looking for this on this piece. The visual that I'm looking for this piece is the simple design, just these couple of lines on the bottom, and your eye flow up and focus on what's happening with this top bark edge. And that's it. Whether if it had more shine or less shine, or if it was just matte, those are all things that are just a matter of preference, of what appeals to you. Design, shape, flow generally is characters that appeal in general. Not everybody. I mean, there's still going to be people that look at this as like, oh, it's nothing but that design. And that's what makes us individuals. We can all have opinions. We can all have different tastes on what we do. Well,